So, is sugar addiction actually a real thing? In this explainer, we're going to dive deep into the science behind our cravings, and we'll uncover this really surprising link between what's happening in your brain and the health of your skin.
You know the feeling, right? That intense, almost irresistible pull towards something sweet? You've probably wondered, is this just me? Am I just bad at self-control? Or is there something else, something biological going on here? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore.
To understand our modern cravings, we have to look way back. For pretty much all of human history, the biggest challenge was just finding enough food to not starve. Our brains got really good at seeking out calories. But fast forward to today, and we're living in a totally different world. We're not just eating to survive anymore, we're eating for pleasure, for comfort.
And this massive shift has created what scientists call an evolutionarily novel state. It's a fancy way of saying our ancient biology is totally out of sync with our modern world.
I mean, think about it. Our great-great-great-grandparents never had to deal with a 24/7 temptation of foods that are just packed with calories and designed to be incredibly delicious. This is all brand new in the grand scheme of things, and our brains just haven't had a chance to catch up.
To really get how big this mismatch is, some scientists make this, well, it's a pretty provocative comparison. They say that the way we add refined sugar to everything is kind of like the introduction of injectable drugs. It's a shocking thought, right? But the point is that these ingredients can hit our reward systems with a speed and intensity they were just never built to handle.
Okay, so let's follow that idea and take a little trip into the brain. What exactly is sugar doing in there that makes it so powerful? How does it create both that feeling of pleasure and that intense craving?
So the whole journey kicks off right on your tongue. The second you taste something sweet, a signal shoots down this special pathway, deep into the reward centers of your brain. And that's what triggers this whole cascade of chemical reactions.
Now, inside the brain, this whole reward thing is actually split into two separate parts. The first part is called liking. This is exactly what it sounds like, the pure, simple pleasure of that sweet taste. It's that, that's good feeling, and it's generated by these tiny little spots in the brain called hedonic hotspots.
But then there's the other system, and this one is the real kicker. It's called wanting. This isn't about pleasure, it's the motivational drive, that magnetic pull that makes you crave the sugar in the first place. And this whole system runs on dopamine. So think of it like this. Liking is the pleasure you get while you're eating the cookie. Wanting is the little voice in your head an hour later saying, hey, we should go get another cookie.
And the difference in the size of these two systems is just massive. I mean, look, the brain has these teeny tiny spots for the simple pleasure of liking, but it has these huge, sprawling highways for the motivational drive of wanting. And what the research shows is that hitting your brain with intense rewards, like sugar, over and over again, can make this wanting system go into overdrive. So, and this is so important, your craving for sugar can get stronger and stronger, even if the actual pleasure you get from it stays the same or even goes down.
So this leads us right to the big question about addiction. If that wanting system can become hypersensitive, can eating sugar start to look, on a behavioral level, like a classic drug addiction? Well, to figure that out, scientists have a checklist. These are the classic behavioral signs they look for to diagnose substance dependence. Things like needing more and more to get the same effect, feeling awful when you stop, binging on it, continuing to use it even when you know it's causing problems, and having those intense cravings when you're trying to stay away.
And this, right here, this is where the science gets really compelling. When researchers gave rats access to a lot of sugar for a long time, their behavior started to tick every single one of those boxes. The rats needed more and more sugar over time. That's escalation. They showed real withdrawal symptoms when the sugar was taken away. They binged on it. They would even keep going for the sugar when they knew it meant getting an unpleasant shock. I mean, the parallels aren't just kind of similar. They're practically a mirror image.
Okay, so we've been deep inside the brain, looking at all these invisible changes. But now, let's pivot. Let's talk about the consequences we can actually see on the outside. Because what's happening inside our bodies very often shows up right on our skin. So the key process we need to talk about is called glycation. Basically, when you've got too much sugar floating around in your blood, those sugar molecules can get, well, sticky. They start latching onto important proteins, and for your skin, the most important one is collagen.
So here's how it all goes down. First, you eat a bunch of sugar. Second, those sugar molecules grab onto proteins like collagen and elastin, the stuff that gives your skin its firmness and bounce. This creates these really nasty new molecules called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs for short. Finally, these ages basically tie up your collagen fibers, making them stiff and brittle and not very good at their job anymore.
And we're not talking about some minor little thing. The research is crystal clear. It states, and I'm quoting here, that glycation fundamentally changes the structure, morphology, and function of skin tissue. It's a direct chemical attack on your skin, happening from the inside out.
And this really just hammers home that central idea, doesn't it? The inside-out connection. Your skin is basically a billboard for what's happening with your internal health.
And the damage from sugar goes way beyond just wrinkles. A high-sugar diet is linked to a whole host of problems. Accelerated aging for sure, but also making things like psoriasis and acne worse. It's all connected to that internal inflammation that eventually shows up on the surface.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought. Now that you know that your brain has this powerful dopamine-fueled wanting switch, a system that can be trained by sugar to crave more and more, how does that change the way you look at your next craving? Is it just a simple desire for a little treat, or is there maybe a deeper, more powerful motivation at play? Something to think about.